So welcome back everyone for another UiPath RP Associate session. So today we are going to talk about debugging and UiPath Orchestrator. So this will be your final session of this course. And after completing this, you are all good to attend this RP Associate exam. So that is the main intent. And so far you have done well, which is you have learned most of the things about the basics, data manipulation and selectors, which are the core topics. In addition to that, you learned about Excel and data tables and email automation and PDF automation, so which is quite advanced topics, which I thought I will cover in 2 weeks, but finally we were able to cover in just 1 week, so which gave us a week period time. So that is why after 2 weeks of time, so now we are going to look into this important topic, which is debugging and UiPath Orchestrator. So once you are aware of this topic, you are all good to attend this RP Associate. So I look forward for your certificates coming through. So as a special gift for attending all these sessions, so few of you have like submitted the assignments correctly, right? So to acknowledge that, UiPath has confirmed to give you some vouchers for that. So Vibor has announced that. So I selected, shortlisted just 2 people for the voucher, so which I will be announcing at the end of this session. Or if Vibor has also agreed to join this session, so if he joins, so he will announce the person. Otherwise, I will announce at the end of this course. So you might be knowing that who did that well, but most of you have submitted. But I have selected person based on their involvement in the classes, also the correctness of the assignments. And yeah, 2 person are getting this, and another person is getting a special UiPath gift. So yeah, so that is the specialty of attending these classes. But even though if you're not getting any gifts, so don't be worried about that. You are still all good to attend the RP Associate. Definitely you will be clearing this exam once you attend. So with all that expectations set, so we'll just go into this topic, which is debugging and UiPath Orchestrator overview. So give me a moment. Let me bring that. Okay, so debugging for errors. So this got a error itself in this PowerPoint. So which is, it's not errors, which is ERROR, right? Okay. Which is a awkward moment for me. So error itself got an error. So which is good. So this is how the error works. So we may come across, it is some unexpected, right? So it can happen anywhere. So it may be quite intentional. So we need to debug for some errors. And UiPath has a lot of features for debugging. So before coming across this error, we need to identify that error. For that, like UiPath has a lot of features in it. So we'll open UiPath and explore what are all the debugging features to find out the errors. So when I say features, so there are 2 types of features. One is the actions, that is a feature, and one is the panels. And this action is visible all the time. So we can see that actions and take some action on based on that feature. But panel is something which is visible only during the runtime or during the execution of the program, right? So let me open UiPath. And let us see about the actions and the panels. So I'll be bringing that in a moment. So the debug panel, so all these are the features. So you can see this debug file, stop, step into, step over, step out, and couple of options here, which is disabled now. And you can see the breakpoints, slow step, execution trail, highlight elements, log activities, continue on exception, picture in picture, and open logs. So these are all the main features that are available initially. And during the runtime, so you get many other features as well. So let me choose any of the activities. So which is like message box, so we may come across errors in anywhere or in the any activities or any programs that we are calling. So or it may depends on the application that is under execution. So it can happen anywhere. So while we debug, and like you can use all these options. So first of all, we will talk about the open logs. So logs are something like we have it inside the workflows. We used to log what happens to that specific module. So when you click on the open logs, it just open the logs from our local machine. And so this is a local version of the logs. So there are two types of logs. So one goes to the orchestrator and other stores inside the machine itself. So all the logs that comes from the execution or the studio logs or comes from the studio database or the analyzer. So anywhere. So basically it belongs to the execution. So it just, you can see that logs. So just open the log and you can see the things that has executed in this machine. So this is one first thing. This is one of the feature. And picture in picture, you don't use it quite often, but it is a separate session. So when you run in this picture in picture mode, so it just creates a separate session and then executes there. And continue on exception, it just continue even though there is an exception. It just execute all the activities within a specific module. And when you click enable this and then restart the studio, please keep in mind that it is still on. So you need to make sure you are selecting this based on what you wish to achieve. So log activities, so it just logs activities in kind of a trace level. So there are different types of logs, so which can be a warning or a information or trace. So trace is the highest level of log, so which means it logs each and every activities level. So it gives the trace level activity if this is enabled. And highlight element, so you can see the in the UI under test, so it just highlights that specific element under execution. And execution trail is like it will show the studio and it just highlights the elements that are executed. So those are called the execution trail. And the slow step is like during the debug, so how fast you need. So you have the slowest and the fastest option. You just click more just to vary the speed of that execution. Yeah. So while increasing the font, in the sequence it's okay, but I'm not able to increase the tool size. But yeah, I'll talk through on these types. So just I'm trying to debug. I just click on one step. Step into, and so this retry and ignore, just it is enabled when there is some kind of error. And so now I did not get that option because there is no error on in these activities, but it's going through a slow step process. Right, so I'm just this is now in off state, which means it goes quite fast. Right, So we have step into is just a step into this workflow. So I'll open some other workflows to execute it because this does not have many activities, right? So I just stop the workflow execution. So you can either stop or continue or whatever it is, you can play around with this. So these are the basic features that we have in debugging. So let me bring another execution, so like another workflow which has more activities which we have done in the past weeks or something. So those are all called as the actions. The one I told about in the debug panel. So all those are actions. So it expects you to take some action when you come across some error, or if you want to do some execution or debugging, then you have all these actions that you can take while performing the execution. And the panels are the debugging panels, so which gives you more options to play around, especially during when you come across some errors or exceptions, right? So okay, so let me open a sample exercise where it just open the UI demo application and enters all these options, so which has the error here. So this just gets all the employee information from an Excel and then open a browser. So let us open this browser and see what it is. So this is a employee information form where it will enter all the information, including the mobile number, city, state, birthday, and just click on the submit. So, and it gets all the information from another file, so which is the usernames and dt.xl, which has all the employee information. And it has the UI demo application as well. In that particular folder, we have the UI demo.exe. So which will open the UI demo.exe and enter all this information. And you can see this mobile number has some text in it, which is E, which is not expected. So we are quite intentional to put that to create an error, right? So when it comes to this place, while entering the phone number, and there is a conversion happening in the mobile number, which is like it is converting into the integer for the mobile number, and which will fail because it will not convert the string into the integer. So we are expecting an error. So we just run it or just click on the debug and click on the debug and see what happens. Just open the IE and just enter the email address and see it failed. So at the place where it failed, so this is the place where we see all that panels. Like we have the locals panel, we have a watch panel and a locals panel, we have an immediate panel, we got an output panel, breakpoints, immediate, and we got a call stack as well. So these are the 6 panels that we get. And one more panel is the designer panel, which is this itself, where it is throwing the error. So when you get some questions, so you can remember all these 7 panels that you're getting. So these are the features. And first you get we usually used to see the output. In the output we get see what the error is all about. So it's assigning the mobile number. Input string was not in a correct format. So that is the error. And you can see the more error details on this exception in the locals, where you can see from which source it has generated, like at system.number.string. So these are the error details. So this is called as the exception, right? So we can see more about that. And in somewhere else also you can see this exception. When exception is thrown, you can see in the output panel, you can see in the locals panel, and one more place is the call stack panel. So in the call stack panel also you get to see this activity name, and it says exception thrown. So in these three places you can look for the errors just to analyze more on that. And now you can take some actions, right? So to take the actions, you know what are the actions you can take. You can either continue, stop, or step into, step over. So if it is step into, it will fail, or you can fix and retry, or just ignore. So retry will just retry this activity one more time, and ignore will just ignore, and it will start executing the next activity. Restart will restart from the first activity, and focus will focus on that specific activity. Similarly, you got a breakpoints. You can keep breakpoints in multiple places. So just to stop the execution there, in order to keep the breakpoint, you can just click on the breakpoint. Click on one more time to disable the breakpoint. So at this junction, so what I'm trying to do is, so we understand this is input is not in a correct format. So either we can fix the input, right? Or you can, using a try catch, you can try this, and you can catch the exception, right? So a lot of things you can do. So which I'll just tell in the next few slides how we are going to overcome this kind of exception or errors, right? So at this point, what I will do, I'll just ignore and continue with the workflow. So all these are executed. It's waiting in the submit another activity, which got some error because it could not find the element. So that we know it's due to the selector issue. There is nothing called submit another activity, so it got failed. So which is again, it's an application. It's not an application error. It's a error from the program itself. There is no activity. There is no element as such in the UI, but I have given this. So this is called as an error, right? So that is what I want to talk about in the next slides. So in the debugging panels, you saw there is a designer, locals, immediate, breakpoints, watch, call stack, and output. And each of them has its own features, which I can explain when we are going. So already I have told a few things, but there are more specific usage on each of these panels. You can use them. Everything is for a specific purpose. So designer, you know the purpose, what it is. So we are able to design the workflow. In the locals, like every runtime, if there is an error, so there is the more details about the error, and you can just change the variable, edit the variable if there is an option, and continue with the execution. And immediate panel, it gives options to evaluate the variables or the arguments. So if there is a panel, so it's not there now, so I can show in the next run. And watch is also like watch for a specific variable, the value of that specific variable or the arguments you can watch. So call stack, it's the next step, also the previous step or the parent activity. You can see the details around all those things in the call stack. And output panel, all the output will be displayed there, right? So errors and exception handling in UiPath. So the errors, the one we saw across, so there may be the syntax error, which is the programmatic error itself. Our users tend to make more mistakes, like the one I did. So there is no activity, there is no element in the UI, but I have created that element. And sometimes for some sessions, a few elements may not be expected, but I'll be expecting it to use some elements and some invalid input as well. So user is tend to make a lot of errors, like including the the object error or the element related error. So he may code it incorrectly. So all coding related issues, like syntax issues and programming issues, all are these called as errors that we make within the UiPath. So the application cannot do anything. The robot also cannot do anything. So it's all the user related errors. We call this as the programming errors. So it's a genuine error, like the user make, and we need to overcome this, so that we know only while we debug, right? If it is related to the application or it is related to the user. And exception is something different. So which is a genuine exception? Like there are two types of exceptions. One is called the system exception, other is called the business exception. So predominantly it will be going to be the system exception 90% of the time, because the application may not respond properly, or it may not accept the input that we are giving. So it may be mainly because of these two reasons. So it may fail. So those are called as the system exception. And it may fall into different categories of exceptions. So which is called as a null reference exception, which is like you may not define a variable or the argument, but you may be trying to use that variable, but there will not be any value for that. So those are called null reference exception. And index out of range exception, so which is mostly comes across in the objects, like arrays or some collections. So you define a certain collection and you are trying to go out of the range. For example, you are defining only five elements and you are trying to access the sixth element, so which is index out of range. So those kind of errors you may come across. And argument exception, like you are trying to access a specific program or a specific workflow. You are invoking a workflow, but there is you are not passing the correct variable, correct arguments, or you are not passing the right set of arguments, or the type of the arguments may be incorrect. Instead of in, you give out, or instead of out, you give in, and that sometimes may create some problems. Also, you are not at all giving an argument, so that may cause some problem. Selector not found, it's all selector related problems. So you specify an element and that element is not present in the screen because the selector got changed. Either in the application, the developer has changed the selector, or you have by not by intention, like you given some invalid selector, so it failed. So those are called selector not found exception. Image operation exception. So you wait for an image to appear or disappear, but that did not happen, so it may fail. So text not found application. So in an application, like you are expecting some text to appear or disappear, and that is not happening as expected. So those are called the text not found exception. And application exception, that application is not responding or it's loading for a long time, and everything comes under the time limit, So it will expect for certain time limit for 30 seconds or 60 seconds, and within that it's not happening. It will wait, the robot will wait for the application, the elements to appear or disappear. And if it is not happening, so those are called the application exception. So the system exception are most or 90% of the time you get the system exception. And see, if you are not sure of the correct exception, you can categorize everything under the system exception. And you will come across this exactly in the try and catch. So you try for a specific exception and you need to catch that exception. So if you're not sure, you can put it in the system exception and you can handle that accordingly. But if you know exactly, you can put in the catch, you can specify this particular exception. So, so these are called system exceptions, right? And the exception, yeah, okay. And before going to the exception handling section, so we need to know about the business exception, right? So business exception is an user-defined exception. It's not generated by the system. So there is nothing called a business exception generated in an application, but it's a user-defined exception. So that is called a business exception. So a specific input is not accepted by the system. So we need to generate the business exception. Right. So there is nothing wrong in the system, but it should not work in that way. So that is why we raise that exception intentionally to make it a business exception. And there is a certain systematic approach to raise this business exception, and you will see in this upcoming slides. Right. So what we need to do when we come across this exception, either the system exception or the application exception. So what we need to do, so we need to handle this exception. So otherwise our workflow cannot execute. So it will not give the intended result. So it may fail in the runtime or when the unintended robot is running. So if it fails there, so it doesn't look good. So we need to handle these exceptions. Either it can be a system exception or business exception. We need to handle that accordingly, so that whenever an exception comes, the system will recover, the program will recover, and then the execution will go smoothly till end. So every business exception needs to be handled. Every system exception needs to be handled accordingly. Then only you will get the desired result as part of the workflow. Right. So what is exception handling? So you have mainly 4 options for this exception handling, right? So first thing you can do is the try and catch. So you can try for an exception. So for example, you are executing an element for an activity. So the activity is expecting some element in the application, and if it's not coming, so and if it is about to raise an exception, we have this option. So we can try for an exception, which is the application exception. We can try for the application exception, and in case of application exception, we have certain options, like we can wait for some time and retry that application to load properly, and then we can continue, which is the proper recovery scenario. It will be very smooth. And second thing is you can throw and rethrow. So the main difference between throw and rethrow is, like, throw is you are just throwing an exception. So you found an exception now, and you are going to throw either an application exception or a business exception. So you are the first time you throw an application exception or a business exception is called throw, and rethrow is like you inside another module. So it's inside a child module, and you need to tell to your main program that there is an exception. So that is called a rethrow. So the main program also knows about that, so that the execution comes to an end, because we cannot move forward with the execution in some cases. So you need to take that specific action, or you need to handle it that way. And the third option you got is retry scope. So in some cases, when we get some exception, you can retry for certain time, and some application works. Yeah, it's for some weird application or some scenarios. So where the first time fails, for example, saving a file, and you are expecting the folder to be enabled and a specific element to appear just to enter your file name. And the first instance, it did not come due to some timeout issue. And the second time when you try, it works. So those kind of issues you can retry. and in some time the application does not load properly. Even after a certain wait, it does not reload properly, and after one refresh, like, it started coming fine. So those kind of scenario or certain examples where you can use this retry scope. And continue on error, it is the final option. So you are not going to take any action. In some application are expected to behave in certain manner that it will give exception. Even though it has exception, you can just continue, but it still works fine. So if that kind of scenario, you can just continue on error, which is, you can see, like, there is a properties, you enable that option as true, and it just go ahead. So we can see that in the UiPath how it works. So those are the main things I need to tell you about the exception handling. So let me bring another screen just to walk through a few more items on the exception handling part. I hope you all understand till now. Do you have any questions before I work on the exception so that I can cover that as well?
No, actually, it looks quite similar to the other, like the Visual Studio and all. It looks similar.
Oh, okay, that's great to hear. Okay, so in this example, like, we have Excel sheet. So from where we are reading all the data and saving in a data table, like information data table. And then we invoke the UI demo just to log into that application. And just we type all the data. So the cache in, cache out, all these things. So we need to handle, before you and I open, there is an exception. So we need to talk about, like, two types of exception, which is application exception and business exception. Okay, so what I will do is, like, if I open this application, right? So I'm just trying to see what it has. It has the data / example. So I'll just open this intentionally. And when I try to run, right, so it will give you some error. So exception, I mean. So in this case, it executed properly, I think. So set the output. Yeah, I want this program to fail somewhere, so we can handle it accordingly. Sorry, please just give me a moment. I'm just exploring a few things. I just want an error with input-output exception. Because I have opened the Excel. So if the Excel is open, so it gives an error. But in this case, it works. Okay. Okay. What if the Excel is not there in the project, or the name is incorrect? So I changed this data to example 1. And then try executing it. Yeah. So we are getting the exception now. So we can handle this kind of exception. So we need to, the solution is like, we need to refer it to the correct input. So the exception is like read input data has failed. So also you can see in the call stack. So in the call stack, it says the parent as well, sequence for try, and the exception is thrown. In the output, you can see the workbook does not exist. Or it may be a issue with the input as well. So some Excel issues as well. So all this kind we can handle. So like if you want to handle, like you need to try and catch. So we can see how we can do that. So you can either press Ctrl+T, or you can surround with try catch. So now you are just trying that.
In the catch, we can read this error, right?
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah, and then send it to appropriate exception queue or something like that.
Yeah, so if it is IO, input output, so you give this IO and then you take some actions. So which is called like, you need to log this activity, right? So you can put the log message. So I need to So put the log message. So you catch the exception, which is called exception dot message. You need the exception dot message and the exception dot source, right? So give the exception dot source. This is only related to the IO exception. So you just want this log level, right? But in some cases, if it is not IO related, so generally everything comes under the system exception. So you can still catch that if it is not in the IO. So multiple catch you can perform within the try catch. So still it works. And the finally will be like either if it is a business exception or a system exception. So if there is an exception occurred and it is handled, the finally will execute. And if the try works fine, then it executes. So each time it pass or fail, it just executes it. But we need to handle it. If we are not handling, then the finally will not be executed. But when it comes through the try and catch, every time the finally is executed, only except it is not handled correctly, right? So in the finally you can do, right, if some conditions. So if there is nothing in the data table, then you can if the information data table is nothing, so if there is nothing, then you can read this input again, right? So that is what you are taking in the finally action. So in that way, we make sure it is handled accordingly, and then you are reading it. So that is one scenario we have handled. And second scenario, it logins everywhere and it worked fine. And we have handled one application exception or the system exception, you can say. And it falls under all the categories, as I told you. Now we create one business exception, right? So just go through that file and see what kind of business we can create. So it's very similar to programming. So these kind of things are a little bit advanced, but it's all quite logical. You don't need any specific programming language, but it's all logical. So you can use those kind of things. So here you have the cash in as 1577. Like, so we can apply a business scenario where it's greater than 100. Like we are going to generate a business exception, right? So you just create a condition within the type into. So if row greater than 100, so it's not specific row, right? So it is a specific column name, which is the first row, first column, right? Row of the first column. So which is like, we need to convert that into an integer, convert dot to int 32, right? And this row of the first column, which is the cash in. Finally, this is the string we need to convert. So it is greater than 100, then we need to throw this as an exception, right? So to throw an exception, so you can see what is throw and rethrow. So we get throw and rethrow. So since this is considered as the main module, we are not going to rethrow, but still it works even if we are doing that. So give an appropriate greater than 100 cash 100, and we need to write the exception. So there is a syntax to generate the business rule exception, which is called as new business rule exception. We need to give us new business rule exception and give your message inside. So which is the values greater than 100, right? So this shows that there is an exception raised. So we just catch that exception and we are just throwing it as that specific exception. And if it is not that, then we are going to type the value. So we have handled the exception. So this is how we handle the exception. So also we can rethrow as well. Like as you told, just rethrow that exception. Oh, sorry. So I should not use it here. So I need to try and inside the try only I can rethrow. So here only I can be able to rethrow it. So not inside the if statement. That is true. Yeah. So we can, the rethrow works only from the catch block, not from any other block, right? So you can rethrow. So first you need to generate an exception, then you can, first you need to throw an exception, then you need to rethrow. So first you need to throw in case of exception, but this is not the right scenario because we have handled this. So there is no need to rethrow it here, but just for example, I'm just telling you it works there, but it's not a proper scenario to rethrow that. Yeah, so now I think we have handled both application exception as well as a business exception. So now we can run it. Okay, so this is because I have changed the name to example one, so it doesn't work. So the simplest way to fix this is just change it back to example. So it gives the username and password. Yeah, so it has thrown that exception. The values are greater than 100. So we cannot proceed with that execution if there is a throw activity. So this is just an example, but you can think more of in a real time. So where do you want to continue with the execution or do not want to continue the execution? So you will act accordingly and proceed. So here I continue. And just to make sure it's coming to an end. Yeah, so finally we get that exception and the program comes to an end. So I told a few other options as well. So if there is an error, so you can still continue going ahead with that process activity. So here is a kill activity. So in case the UI demo application is already closed, there are chances it raise an exception. So in that case, you give continue on error is true. So no matter if even if there is an exception, it just continue with that activity. So continue with the workflow or execution. So this is the final way to execute. And retry scope is one more thing. So in some cases you want to retry, and this retry mainly ask for a few details, which is like number of retries you want and the retry interval. So this is the time interval you will be giving in seconds, like for 2 seconds, right? You can specify in this way, which is 2 seconds or something. The number of retry is 2. So because there are it's a huge risk, like if you are not specifying this, so it may go to an infinite loop and it doesn't comes to an end. So you need to give it up appropriately just to handle it. And what you are going to retry is an action, which is like a close or just element exist or something. So you are going to retry, so you can design it accordingly for the retry scope. So these are the ways we handle the exception. So first there is an exception, either it can be a system exception or application exception. And you need to handle this exception in several ways using try catch or retry scope or continue on error. And what else? Like throw and rethrow. So all these are options to handle exceptions, right? So we have come to an end of the first half of this session. So now the bigger part is done. So next is a quite smaller and interesting part. It's UiPath Orchestrator. We are just going to explore for around 30 minutes, and then we'll have some fun activity at the end of this session. So can we have a break here? Or do you have any questions so far in this debugging session?
No, Rajnish.
Okay.
No. But I have one doubt, Rajnish, with this rethrow and throw and rethrow.
Okay.
So if we use throw, we can catch it in the, we can catch that exception in the catch block, then we can continue the process, no?
Yeah.
But what if we use this rethrow?
Yeah.
Assume that we have two containers. From parent, we are calling the child a sequence. Okay. Inside child, we are having rethrow. Inside the catch. Okay. Yeah. Assume that below catch, we have some other activities to be executed. Okay.
Yeah.
But we have used rethrow. So when this rethrow activity is executed, so control will be moving to a parent sequence, right? The remaining activities below rethrow will not be executing, right?
Yeah, that is right. Yes.
Okay. This doubt I was having.
Yeah, you have the answer in your question itself. So yeah, no activities will be executed after that. So it will just go to the main program. So the control will be transferred to the main program. So this you will particularly notice in some big projects where you are invoking a lot of workflows. So one of the child workflow is throwing that error, and it will catch in the throw, and then it rethrow to the parent. And when the control comes back to the main, so it gets the rethrow there. So specifically in the RE framework or something, you will notice that when you are going to the advanced sections.
Okay. Rajesh, and one more thing. In the parent also, the control will be moving directly to the catch, right? In the parent catch, or remaining activities below the invoke workflow file will be executed over there. How that happens?
Yeah, so it will, first of all, it will just trace back to the parents from where it is called. So it will go through there, and finally it will go to the end transaction, which is the final activity. But no activity will be like executed within, but it will go through the through the parent, the root activity. It will go there, and finally it will go to the end transaction or something.
Okay. Thank you, Rajnish.
Please. Is there any other question? Okay, it's all good. Timing wise, we are doing good. So it's 7. So let's meet in 5 minutes time. Thanks.